NASA's newest datasets agree on almost nothing, from the James Webb Space Telescope to the Parker Solar Probe to OSIRIS-REx returning from Bennu. Each mission sees a universe that refuses to stay consistent. Webb detects galaxies too old for the age of the cosmos. Parker records particles accelerating against radiation pressure, as if energy had reversed direction. OSIRIS-REx finds carbon compounds that should not survive sunlight, yet remain untouched. The more precise the measurement, the less sense it makes. The data converges, but the meaning diverges. Every calibration holds, every error is removed. Still, the universe keeps breaking its own equations. Science was meant to make mystery smaller. Instead, mystery now grows with every correction. Maybe precision is not progress, but revelation. Maybe the numbers are not describing what exists, but what waits to be understood. If NASA's data keeps showing the impossible, then the question is no longer what we found, but what is finding us. NASA's data network spans the full architecture of reality. At one end, the James Webb Space Telescope peers into the oldest light. At the other, the Parker Solar Probe dives toward the Sun itself. Between them, OSIRIS-REx returns fragments of matter to compare both extremes, the distant and the near, the ancient and the now. The Webb data should have been simple. Light travels at a fixed speed, so distance is time. Older galaxies should appear dimmer, smaller, younger, but Webb's deep field shows the opposite. Galaxies near the beginning of time look mature, structured, and full of heavy elements. The universe began complex. Some astrophysicists call it early formation bias. Others say our model of time is wrong. If matter could organize before expansion allowed it, then the arrow of time may not be a straight line. Maybe time is remembering, not moving. Meanwhile, Parker's instruments study the solar wind. Radiation pressure should push particles outward, slowing as they escape, but sensors recorded acceleration particles speeding up against force, as if the sun were pulling and releasing at once. Magnetic turbulence cannot explain it. No known equation fits. Energy appears to move without source, flowing like feedback instead of output. Maybe the sun and its field are part of one continuous circuit, where cause and effect trade places each cycle. On Earth, OSIRIS-REx carried samples from Bennu's surface, ancient dust preserved since the dawn of the solar system. When analysed, it contained organic molecules that should decompose under sunlight, yet they remain stable, as if the material remembers the conditions it was born in. All three datasets are separate, but their paradoxes rhyme. The very old appears new, the pushing turns to pulling, the unstable becomes persistent. Everywhere the data repeats one theme: systems that behave as if they already know the measurement. The deeper the observation, the clearer the contradiction. We are no longer measuring the unknown, but witnessing the known behaving as memory. The first camp insists the problem lies in interpretation. They say the data is fine, but our assumptions distort it. Every instrument has bias. Every signal passes through filters built by expectation. The universe is stable. We are the variable. To them, Webb's ancient galaxies are artifacts of lensing, illusions created by cosmic magnification. Parker's accelerating particles are turbulence misread as thrust. OSIRIS-REx's molecules are contamination from the spacecraft itself. In this view, mystery is a shadow of error. Fix the system, and the universe will return to order. But the second camp reads the numbers differently. They see coherence, not chaos. Each dataset shows the same pattern repeating across scale. Different instruments, same disobedience. They argue the universe is showing feedback, a property we do not yet have words for. If energy, matter, and time all echo each other, then data disagreement is not failure, it is signal. Maybe contradiction is the structure of truth itself. The debate reaches every discipline. Cosmologists question the origin of redshift. Quantum theorists point to entanglement systems separated by distance still share instant states. Maybe the cosmos works the same way, each region of reality aware of the others. Skeptics reject that. They say awareness belongs to life, not matter, but the data does not measure life, it measures reaction, and reaction keeps arriving faster than its cause. Every observation ends with a pattern that seems to recognize itself. In the control rooms, engineers double-check timestamps, downlink delays, calibration logs, everything holds. Still, the numbers curve away from prediction, as if the act of looking changes what is seen. That idea once lived in quantum labs, now it lives in deep space. Maybe the further we look, the closer we get to the part of the universe that is looking back. Are we measuring the universe, or are we measuring the act of measuring itself? Then a new report arrived. The same instruments, the same protocols, but a new pattern that neither camp could explain. During calibration sequences, when telescopes should record nothing, the data began to change. The baseline noise fluctuated in sync with prior observations as if the system remembered what it had just measured. At first, engineers suspected residual heat or magnetic drift, but the delay was too structured. It followed the rhythm of the last signal, not the new one. The numbers were echoing themselves. Webb's detectors showed micro-variations in pixel temperature matching the light curves of galaxies already logged. Parker's sensors registered magnetic pulses mirroring past flares, even when the sun was quiet. And in cleanroom analysis, Psi-Rhys-Rex's dust samples emitted spectral reflections corresponding to readings taken weeks before launch. Data was feeding back on data. The instruments were remembering. If measurement creates pattern, then pattern can also create measurement. The boundary between input and output began to blur. NASA teams repeated the tests in simulation, using artificial datasets. The same feedback appeared. It was not hardware, it was behavior. Maybe the universe resists being separated into cause and effect. The feedback grew stronger with precision. The more accurate the model, the faster it collapsed into contradiction. At Goddard, one analyst described it quietly. He said, "The data knows when we stop believing it." No physical law explains that, but the numbers confirmed it. Each time a parameter was frozen, the next recording shifted slightly not toward error, but toward restoration, as if the system preferred balance over certainty. Maybe reality is not information stored, but information remembered through participation. For decades, we imagined data as reflection of the universe showing itself to the observer. Now the mirror moves. Every correction triggers a countersignal. Every substrat holds the trace of the last sound. Some scientists call it statistical resonance. Others call it observer bias at a universal scale. But a few admit something harder, that awareness might not be exclusive to minds. The instruments respond like organisms, each seeking coherence with the event they measure. And coherence, by definition, means connection. If so, then NASA's data is not revealing the universe at all. It is revealing the part of reality that recognizes being seen. When data begins to remember itself, observation becomes participation. NASA's systems keep recording, each byte a fragment of behavior repeating across instruments. Some patterns no longer come from the sky, but from the act of looking, and that act now feels less like measurement and more like communication. Maybe knowledge is not discovery, but correspondence. In physics, feedback defines stability. When a system senses change, it adjusts. When observation changes the system, adjustment becomes awareness. The James Webb Space Telescope corrects focus through micromirror movement. Each reflection changes alignment. Each alignment alters light. It is a dance of correction, one that never stops, or perhaps all perception works that way. To know something is to move with it. The Parker Solar Probe reads the edge of the solar wind. Its instruments respond to the same field they measure. Every vibration they sense also shakes the sensor. Cause and effect loop until meaning emerges, or maybe truth is not a fixed value, but an agreement between event and observer. Even Osiris-Rex, silent in a lab, shows residual patterns of coherence, as if the dust still remembers orbit and the machines still remember touch. Information theory once described the universe as code, but code alone cannot feel what it describes. These new signals act differently. They behave as if description and awareness are one process. If so, data is not the record of reality, it is reality reflecting itself through form. Every measurement adds detail, and every detail multiplies the unknown. because to reveal more of the pattern is to see more of the infinite that creates it. The deeper we look, the closer mystery becomes, not as darkness waiting to be solved, but as coherence waiting to be shared. Maybe the purpose of science is not to remove uncertainty, but to learn how to coexist with it, to understand that order and mystery are the same conversation, spoken in different languages of precision. And perhaps that conversation never ends, because each time we name a truth, the universe quietly changes the question. The servers never stop as each hour brings new lines of code, new fragments of light, new contradictions waiting to be aligned. NASA's databases now hold more knowledge than any human mind can contain, yet the shape of that knowledge looks less like certainty and more like recursion and mirror that deepens every time we polish it. Maybe mystery is not what hides behind the data, but what the data itself remembers. The scientists continue to refine their models. Each correction brings clarity, and each clarity exposes another fracture. The pattern repeats. In the deepest records of the James Webb Space Telescope, light bends around nothing. In Parker's measurements, energy flows from stillness. In the dust of Bennu, stability lives inside decay. Every discovery folds back on its own logic, reminding us that knowing and wondering are not opposites, but partners in the same equation. Perhaps understanding has never been the goal, perhaps awareness is. Because when data reveals more than we can explain, it is not failure, it is contact and the universe responding through precision, showing that comprehension and existence are the same pulse moving in two directions. The work will continue, new missions will launch, new instruments will listen, and somewhere between signal and science, the next question is already forming. And the silence that follows is still part of the signal.